Hi everyone, I hope all of you are doing awesome. Since the Halloween is coming, happy Halloween everyone. And we're going to do some ghost stories for Halloween. So today's story is The New Tenant. And this is a true story. So Mr. Binod Singh was looking for a kind of like apartment or house, anything to rent because his wife Gogi and their daughter 10-year-old Neha was going to come from India. And Mr. Binod Singh used to drive taxi. So he looked, and at the end, he found a house, old house he could rent as an apartment. And in the neighborhood, there are many old houses which were like getting redone for using as investment properties for renting out, and these are owned by some neighborhood people who had apartment buildings or house for rent, who didn't want to live in those houses. But these houses are pretty run down. Mr. Vinod Singh knew that houses are old and that's all he can afford. So there was a house which was empty and it rented pretty cheap. So it was like only $800 a month, but he had to pay the water, electric, and heat separately. So he took it because he needed it. His family is going to come. Now, Mr. Binod Singh thought is very lucky that he's getting it, and it's in the city where his business was, because he was driving taxi, so he needed something in the city so he can. It was near a metro stop, so he can go and pick up customers from the metro. So it worked out great for him. So the family came, and it wasn't even a month. It wasn't even a month that all sorts of things started happening, like nighttime at the bathroom the light will be on, and bathroom toilet will be getting flushed by itself, and then even nighttime the kitchen light will get turned on. And now this was just in a house, but this house only had one room, a small room, and a kitchen and a bathroom, and just pretty much like a one bedroom apartment. So as you know, the city houses are very small and highly priced. So the kitchen light will turn on around 4 a.m. Coffee maker will start by itself. And the refrigerator door will open and close by itself. Refrigerator made a lot of noise, and there will be smell of coffee in the house. And the refrigerator also, when they moved in, the refrigerator smelled pretty awful. Entire house had an awful smell, and which they tried with many perfumes, many kind of oils, and they would just put these oils and perfumes and sprays on to get the smell out. Incense stick. There was a weird smell. They complained to the landlord, and the landlord told them that the house has been cleaned, freshly painted, and all the repairs been done. So could be the smell from that. So they couldn't do anything. I mean, they couldn't complain too much because they were lucky to have something in the city. It was very hard to get in this area. Then at night time, they will hear an old lady coughing too much, and they will look around, but they wouldn't see anything. and they will hear chairs being pulled and pushed and dragged at night, and an old lady talking, but they couldn't understand anything. Whatever they could make out of her, she would cough and she would say that she would go get a glass of water. So they mentioned these things to the landlord, but he didn't say anything and he didn't pay much attention. And he said, look, buddy, I got people lined up to get this place. And if you don't want it, just let me know, because I have a waiting list. And these houses are small and they are very close to each other. So you might be hearing your neighbors' noises, because these aren't a countryside houses. These are city houses, noises everywhere. So, I mean, Mr. Vinod did not do anything about it because it was hard for him to get a place. He just came to the country and he drove only taxi, didn't make that much money. So they didn't have much choice, but they would hear these things. But while hearing these things and all this was okay, but then what happened is his wife Gogi started getting sick, and she was sick to the point that she couldn't even get up or go from bedroom to the living room, and she had to hold the wall to get around. And she couldn't, her daughter, 10-year-old, she used to go to school, so before she used to walk up to the bus stop, put her in the bus, which is like a short distance walk, not too much, just a couple of houses down. But she couldn't even do that because she used to walk in the home holding the wall. So her daughter Neha had to go alone to the bus stop, come back home, and this little girl had to do a lot of household chores because her mother being so sick. And Gogi was never sick. She was very fit physically and very lively woman, but she became very, very ill. And then Mr. Binod Sarma was very worried that what's going on, and their financial status was getting really bad, and they used to fight a lot. And he was also getting sick, coughing sick, and the smell of the house made everybody sick. So one day he was talking to his neighbor, was named Joe, and this neighbor Joe was also a taxi driver. So I was talking to him that, Joe, I have this problem. The house smells so bad, and my wife is so sick, and I'm sick, and daughter has to do a lot of work, and she has a school work, and goes to school by herself. Her mother cannot do anything, and if I go back home, I probably don't even have money to buy tickets for everybody, and it won't be really nice because what will I do there? So, as he was explaining, and then Joe said to him that, don't tell your landlord this, but this house is really cursed. And then he said, why? Said, because there was this lady, she used to live there, and she lived there for about 10 years, and then she got very, very sick. And then it was like 2 weeks, she never came out. Papers were piling up outside, mails were piling up, mailmen complaining that nobody's taking the mail, and there was mail piling up. So neighbors got together and called the landlord. Then some time landlord saw up 2 weeks later, and then they opened the door and they found out the lady has gotten really sick and she's died like weeks ago, couple of weeks ago. And since nobody checked on her, and her answering machine was filled, messages were filled, that nobody could get in touch with her. And then the body got swelled up and it busted, so it was all over the wall and bed and everywhere. and that's why the gross smell was coming all over the neighborhood. People could smell the house was smelling so bad, and nobody was answering the door. And mails were piling up, the papers were piling up, calls being made so many times, nobody answered. So then the landlord reported to the county and cleaned it up, painted, all that. But the lady's spirit was still there, and it would haunt anybody who came there. Especially the women were very sick, and the men were financially distressed. So after Mr. Binod Sarma found it out, he moved out to another friend's basement somehow, because he didn't want it to be there anymore. His wife was extremely sick. And after he moved out, then slowly after a month or two, his wife just uh, magically recovered from everything. And then to that place, there's a guy came, and his name was Ryan. He came there, and after that, he had a business of landscape business. He used to bring many men, and they would do landscaping, and he just was a military guy. So he lived there a few months, and then his business went down. He also got sick. Then he got a girlfriend named Ashley, and then they were living together, and they had a daughter. Within a year, they got married. They had a daughter, and then Ashley got extremely sick, and she also had a lot of respiratory. All these women had respiratory problem because the tenant who died there had pneumonia, and she died from pneumonia. So all the women developed respiratory problem, and the men had financial distress, and they fight with each other a lot. And then Ryan was fighting with his wife Ashley, and they had a little daughter. They called Roseanne. Roseanne was so cute, but Roseanne had to live with her grandparents because her mother, Ashley, Ryan's wife, extremely sick. She had to be put on ventilator, and she was very young. She was like 25 years old. And then she moved with her parents, left that house. She didn't want to live there anymore because they were constantly fighting, and she got extremely ill. She couldn't even get up from bed to take care of her, and let alone take care of her little daughter, Roseanne. And then Ryan also moved out, and after that, whoever they rented, the story was same. The woman would get extremely sick, and it'll be always respiratory illness, and the woman won't be able to get up from bed. They had to hold the walls to move step by step, and the man will have serious illness, anger, and financial distress. So the house continued to be cursed one, and slowly people knew it, and people came, lived there. Somehow they made it maximum to the 6 months, and they had to live because when they left, they were so much broke that they didn't have any money to move any place to. But Ryan moved with his mother in her basement, and his wife lived with her parents because she was so sick. She wasn't able to function. But that was the story of a true haunted cursed house. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I'll see you with many, many more. Happy Halloween, everyone. Enjoy. Be safe.